Good morning. Ben Kruger with Old School Manufacturing here again. This video is going to be on field operation of our 2023 Terminator T3 series units. This video is also for the Terminator T2 series units for the 2023 model year. You can see our screen here. Here's our joystick. Both the T2 and the T3 would have identical joysticks. How do we work them? So how do we work all of this? Well, the first thing we have to do is watch our first video on how do we get it into field position. Assuming that you've done that, we're now ready to get ready to zap some weeds. So let's go through a couple of controls here on our joystick first. Okay, so our center rocker switch on the top is in the middle position. The middle position is the field position. Well, how the heck do I know that? Well, over here on your monitor, we have a joystick. You can pull that up and it tells you what every function on the joystick actually does. That's option number one. Option number two, right here we have our top rocker switch indicator. It's in the field position there. Our bottom rocker switch here is in the main boom position. If I move the bottom rocker switch over, it goes to right wing and left wing. This would then be controlled by our front hydraulic operation switch. Once again, this switch is used for the center section and right and left boom only when in the field mode or field position. Okay? Alright, so let's say hypothetically my wings are down and I am ready to go ahead and kill some weeds. First thing I have to do, start my engine. I'll press start here. I have to enter a password. The standard password that is sent to you on the machine is 1234. You're welcome to change that as you are now the owner. Enter. So at this point, I would press my start button. When I press my start button, I would see my idle RPMs here come up to around 800 RPM. I would see my oil pressure come up to somewhere in the 40. I would see my exhaust temperature, which you can see this is out of range right now because it's not hooked up, but I would see that come up to somewhere around 300. If I had any more questions, I could go into the diagnostic feature. I go into the diagnostic feature, I can see water temp 1, water temp 2, exhaust temp, oil pressure temp 1, oil pressure temp 2. This is actually the amount of amps that's being sent to the starter solenoid. This is for the fuel on, or in other words, make the machine run. That's the amps that fuel function is actually pulling. And this is for the throttle or the high RPM. If this was green, then our engine should be running. If this throttle is green, then our engine should be running at high RPM. This is for the engine fan. This is a 30 amp fuse that's back on the engine controller, the auto mode, the door indicator. My door's open because it's hot. Manual fan control. This allows you to go ahead and turn the fan on manually. However, the fan during standard operation would be run in the auto mode. The purpose of this engine fan control is for servicing of the unit. So let's say hypothetically I had to adjust a belt or do something else and I've been zapping. That cabinet is smoking hot. So you can, with your sprayer engine running, your self-propelled engine running at a high RPM, you can switch the fan control over to manual and you can turn it up and cool that cabinet off. It's amazing how much air moves through there, so you can cool that cabinet down considerably in about 5 minutes time. We're not going to do that right now. We'll go ahead and switch back over to auto mode. Okay, I think this pretty much covers that side of it. So now when I am in the run mode here, I would go, the first thing I would do is I would go to what's my wing wheels here. I would press that button. I would press the up in order to run those wheels up, because we want to run our wheels as low as we can without damaging our crop. So I would press the up button, and that would move both of them up at the same time. If I wanted to move them individually up or down, then I can move them here on either side. The next thing I would do is my actuators, because I had been in the folded up position, my individual bars would be in the folded up or transport position. I would hit my center bar button, and that would bring them all down into a field operation position at the same time. So once again, center bar. At that point, I would go ahead and lower my center boom down, which would be done here and here. I would lower it down, letting my grounding coulters on my wings, letting them touch the ground. Once I had done that and I'd got my center boom height set where I wanted it, then I would press my blue button. I may have to hit this twice to cycle it. At that point, my machine would automatically raise up into the turnaround position. Then I would press the blue button again. When I did that, my boom would go down into the field position, and my wing switch test would be cleared. At this point, as long as all my safeties over here are satisfied, the machine would be able to run. So when I'm actually out in the field, when I get to the end of my headland or to the end of my row, I would press the blue button. This automatically activates the stop button, as well as raises the boom into the turnaround position. About halfway through my turn, so I'm coming out of my headland and I'm going to turn right on this one. About halfway through my turn, I would press and hold the green start button. I need to hold this for 2 seconds, and this would activate the auto start feature, which is indicated on the monitor. After that had popped up, I would press my blue button, and that would drop everything down into field position. Once you get the hang of this, it's a very smooth operation. It's timed to work at about 3.5 miles per hour during turnaround. We're actually going to go ahead and talk about one more thing here, which is our individual actuators. On the T2 model, these 3 switches are used. On the T3 model, all 5 switches would be used, because the T3 has a 5-section bar. So this would be the far left, mid left, center section, mid right, far right. I can change this in my monitor. When I go over, I go to my actuators, and I can change the speed that they run when they're in increment mode. I can change the speed they can run when they're in manual mode, which is where I can raise it up and lower it down. I can change the increment mode where I want them to move 1 inch every time I hit the button. For each individual section, I can change it to 2 inch, 3 inch, or 4 inch. So basically, once I hit that button, I can look the other way and know it's going to do its own thing. Now, something new for the 2023 year is we now have a rocker switch, a 4-position rocker switch here. This 4-position rocker switch enables us to move all the actuators at one time. Up and down moves the center actuator. Side to side move all actuators simultaneously. Moving the 4-position rocker to the left moves all actuators up. Moving the 4-position rocker to the right moves all actuators down. Once you set your hydraulics, they stay where they're at, and most of your height adjustment is going to be done with this button right here. So this is to allow you to fine-tune separately for the individual sections, but this one side to side is intended for most of your height adjustment as you're going throughout the field. If you have any questions or concerns, please give us a call. Thanks, and have a blessed day.